What's going on, guys? Alex here, the 814 EDC, and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Christensen Knife Works Maverick S. This was the second knife that Kevin over at Lefty EDC loaned in for me to check out, along with the Brian Brown Jaeger MV2. This, if you guys are subscribers, was the video you saw before this one. So I'm ready to do my review on the Maverick S. And spoiler alert, out of these two knives, I definitely prefer the Maverick S a little bit more. If you guys saw this video, my review video on this, I definitely like the knife. I think it's a good knife, but it's just not for me, size-wise and, a few other things. This is more my wheelhouse for size-wise. I like the action a little bit better. It just fits my hand a little bit better, and I think this is a cooler knife. And, I think this is a cool knife. This is just a little bit cooler. So jumping into materials, you guys can see that this is obviously very bougieed out. I actually had to go back to Kevin's channel because he got this knife in 5 months ago. Because he got it in at Blade Show, which happened in June of earlier this year, to make sure I had everything right with the materials. Because, it's a very bougie knife, in my opinion. You obviously have a, different clip, a different backspacer, thumb studs, and pivot collars are all a different material than you are typically used to, and I'm used to. And then also the scales are a different material than what I'm used to. This knife is a Fanatic Edge exclusive. Now, I don't know if this was a Blade Show exclusive or if you could, buy them on their website. I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find it. I think I looked for it. Yeah, I'm 99.9% sure I looked for it, and I couldn't find anything on the website. But I know Kevin bought this at at Blade Show, and this is actually the only knife that he has left from his haul. And he came back with a pretty, 4 or 5 knives and some other stuff, and he sold everything off but this. So that tells me that he really enjoys this knife, and this knife is good, and I definitely agree. So like I said, a Fanatic Edge exclusive, and this is in black camo carbon. So you guys can see it kind of has some waves going down through there, and if it catches the light the right way, it will be kind of reflective. Looks really, really cool. And then for the blade steel, so it also has a dark acid wash, which is cool. I'm not a huge acid wash fan, but this one definitely appeals to me. It goes with the knife very, very well. Has a super thin hollow grind, and the blade stock to begin with is not very thick at all. So this is a super slicey knife, but it's in 20 CV. There is the Christensen Design Works logo, or Christensen Knife Works logo, excuse me. 20 CV, and then the accents are Zircuti. So you have a Zircuti clip, a Zircuti backspacer, Zircuti thumb studs, and Zircuti pivot collars. So again, I've already thrown this word around a few times, but this is a very, very bougie knife. I think this is a bougie knife, but I think this steps it up a little bit with all the Zircuti accents and everything like that. I probably would not buy a knife, with everything on it like this, just because, if I'm being honest, I don't love Zircuti. I wouldn't spend my own money on it. Beginning to check out, someone else's knife with everything on it, I can definitely appreciate it. And I will say I do like the pot clip and how it looks because of how the pattern is done on it. I think it looks really, really cool. Then you have the pivot collars, and the studs aren't as easy to pick up on. But if you look at them the right way, it definitely, you can tell what they are. Yeah, so like I said, Kevin bought it at Blade Show 2022. I don't know if that was a Blade Show exclusive only at the show you could buy it, or if they sold some on their website or anything like that. I'm not super familiar with Fanatic Edge. I just know they do some pretty crazy builds and have some pretty crazy exclusives. But I think these were done by Riot, and I know he had, I think 4 or 5 different models. The one I was looking at, I actually was, kind of close to buying. He had a full canvas, natural micarta one with black. No, this is Zircuti. What is it? Black. No, Damascus. black Zerk, maybe black Zerk. All the, instead of this being Zerkutai, it was all blacked out, and I can't remember what the material was. It was another bougie material, but we're gonna get going into some materials now that I've gone over kind of everything that's special about this knife. I'm sure it has skiff bearings in it because Kevin puts skiffs in everything. It is an Inset liner lock. Very, very lightweight. This knife doesn't have any heft to it at all because of the camo carbon. It's basically like a carbon fiber type of build. So there is no internal milling going on, but honestly, you don't really need it. I don't know what else is. I mean, you have a sharpening choil that kind of works as a finger choil, as long as you're careful with what you're, cutting and not being too rough with it. But yeah, I'm honestly not. I think that's everything for materials. I kind of went over it to begin with how this is a special edition knife. But yeah, so we'll jump right into action next. And thumb studs, I tend to prefer holes, but thumb studs in this knife just work. The detent tuned very nicely. It's definitely good. It's a little bit lighter than on the Jaeger M, but it definitely does not feel like a any less than from a a satisfactory standpoint. It still works very, very well. You get a good grip on here, and that thing just thunders out. Middle finger flick, same way. From an acoustic standpoint, it definitely doesn't like ting because of the the camo carbon kind of soaks some of that in, but it's still a very resounding snap. It definitely thunders out of there. Then you have the liner lock, which I feel like there could be a tad bit more of cutout there, but you get used to it. You kind of just toss your nail in there, the corner of it drops down, and it's very, very smooth. It's another one of those where you drop it to your nail, you pull your nail out, and it's a little bit smoother at doing that versus the Jaeger M. And I'm kind of comparing the two just because I have both of them here right now, and they're both made by Riot. But it's not a guillotine knife, but it definitely has a little bit more drop shuttiness than the Jaeger M, and I think that's because it doesn't have such a stiff detent. But I mean, I could do this all day. Like, this thing fidgets so well. It fires out of there, and there's no blade play, no lock rock, anything like that. And it's still this smooth. It's dead centered. You guys can see that or not. Yeah, action is just really, really good. And like I said, I'm usually a hole over studs guy, but to me, it works very, very well. Try it lefty. Comes out of there well. Do one of those. I like to do this a lot with my knives. Kind of stick my pointer finger in there and it drops down. Very smooth, almost glassy-like. So definitely like this and how it feels. Like I said, I could sit here and do this all day. Just very fun to fidget with. So action is 2 thumbs up. Sorry, that was like 1 thumb and the knife. 2 thumbs up. Next up is Ergos. And like I already stated, this knife is very, very lightweight due to it all being camo carbon. Again, it's like a carbon fiber equivalent. And the Inset liner lock is nice. I love liner locks that are seated into the scale. Without choking up here to this kind of choil area, I can get still 4 fingers on the knife. My pinky has, a little bit of extra room back here, but not a whole lot. So I'm definitely kind of compressed into this, right here, but it's not like I'm feeling constricted or anything like that. You do have a natural restriction point right here, and then your thumb or your pointer finger goes down and the rest of your fingers just follow suit. The blade stock is very thin, so I will say it's not as comfortable as the Jaeger because the Jaeger is thicker when you put your thumb up here. That was one thing that I did notice and I kind of wish was a little bit different. Maybe how they have it thicker here, maybe extend that out into the swedge a little bit and have the swedge start, up front a little bit more. But, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but if you're going to be like kind of pushing down hard on it to be getting through, through something, kind of a restrictive or tough or, your knife's getting caught up on it, that can kind of be a little bit uncomfortable. It's not sharp by any means, but it definitely is thin enough to where it can, cause some discomfort in your grip. But when you choke up here, your hands follow suit like this. And again, you have to be careful because the corner of the knife is kind of sticking into your finger a little bit. So if you're going to be doing some really, really precise cuts and you're going to be careful what you're doing, maybe some like, Amazon package opening or box opening or anything like that, excuse me, just be careful. But if you're going to be, kind of romping on it, which you're probably not going to be romping on this anyway, just because it's not that type of knife. It's, a little bit more elegant use knife, in my opinion. I'm sure it would handle it, but I just don't think anybody would be, chomping at the bit to go hard use this knife, if you know what I mean. So as long as you're careful, it'll work well. But a pinch grip works well. Reverse draw cut or hammer grip works well. And it's nice because the top of the scale is just straight. And then back here, you have the indentation right here. And then it's straight back as well until you get to the booty of the knife, and it has a tapered off area. So it's comfortable. There's no jimping at all, which is nice. That's 2 knives in a row, both made by Riot, that doesn't have any jimping. The backspacer has some indents to it. I guess you can kind of use that as jimping when it's, tucked into your hand the right way and your skin's gonna be kind of catching on it. But all in all, it's very comfortable. The only thing that I really can knock a little bit on the knife is I just wish they would extend out this up here. Because back here it feels really good, but then you move up here and you can definitely tell the thickness differences. And I wish they just would have extended that flat spot, maybe the whole way out and just done away with this wedge, or figured out a different way to do it. But I can't knock it that much just because that's kind of a personal preference. So ergos are awesome. Carry is also really, really well done. This thing is super lightweight due to the camo carbon. I've already mentioned that a few different times. So it's light as a feather. It disappears into your pocket. You cannot tell it's there. It's a milled a milled Zircuti clip. I'm so used to saying milled titanium. But a Zircuti, which I think is a little bit lighter weight than titanium. So that adds to it as well. But it is a milled clip. So you're going to have about this much sticking up out of your pocket. Not the worst thing in the world. Same with the Jaeger. And I apologize for, comparing them so much. But again, they're right here. I just filmed the video for this. I'm going to kind of compare them just because they're both really, nicely done Riot made knives. But you have about probably the same sticking up out of your pocket, maybe a little bit less over here just because of how it's, shaped. But I think it looks good on the knife. I think even if this is just the plain titanium or that's going to bug me what the hell the other accents on that knife were. But whatever the pot clip is, made of, it looks good on the knife. One thing I forgot to mention in the ergos section is because this knife is so flat to the scale, you can feel it, but it definitely does not cause any hot spots. And then when you choke up, you get a little bit, less of it in your palm. So that's not going to cause any issues at all. But yeah, carries very well. You're not going to have any flipper tab or anything digging out of here. It's all contoured. You do have a little bit of an edge right here, just from the way the scale is kind of cut out right there. But, it's not going to catch your hand when you're reaching in for anything, loose like chapstick, coins, stuff like that. I only carried this knife in my front right pocket of my jeans. And I did toss it in my gym shorts, I think, once when I went, or, I was around the house doing something and I just threw it in there. Carries very well there too. You really, can't tell just because of how lightweight it is. So, carry is what I've preferred, maybe a little bit deeper of a carry, yes. But with these expensive knives, I don't want to say that because definitely a lot of expensive knives have wire clips and, loop over style clips and stuff like that. But, I think it goes with the knife aesthetically. And it's not that big of a deal to have a little bit more sticking about in your pocket here. So I can't really knock it too much for that. So lastly is price point and what I recommend this knife. And I apologize, guys, I don't have a true price for this. But I remember when so there was a pre-order and then there was, drops done by, I think it's Matthew Christensen. Did a drop on his website. And I was looking at the Micarta one, and I think it was right around $380. I'm going to double check here and see if it's still up on his website, because I will check out and try to give you guys a better idea. I don't think it's going to be anything on here. Yeah, it just took me to his Teespring, which is not what I was looking for. So I apologize for taking a few minutes to double check here. Christensen Knife Works, Maverick S. There we go. We'll try to Google that. So I don't know if you can find... So, okay, so Knife Center link came up to the micarta one. So we'll see. Yeah, it's discontinued. You still can't buy them anymore. Zirconium, that's what it is. Zirconium accent. So you, on the... That was bugging the hell out of me. On the micarta version, you could have zirconium thumb studs, pivot collar, and clip, which is really cool. But they went for $280. I know that specifically because I was looking at it before, and I was considering buying one. But I'm believing Kevin's probably spent closer to $500 on this just because of the camo carbon and all the zircuti accents. It's going to make the knife more expensive. So if I had to guess, it would be $450 or $500. Some of you guys might know. Actually, I'll double check one more time while I'm looking up stuff. Might as well check it one more time just to see if I can find anything else about it. But yeah, so I can't find it. The only thing it took me to was a post on the Blade forums, and this guy sold it for $550. So maybe it was a little bit more than $500. Also, $550 could be a secondary price. So I'm still going to stick to $450 or $500, which that's a lot for a knife. But you know, you're only talking about, so the micarta version that I was looking at buying was $380. You're only looking at, you know, potentially a $70 to $100 upgrade, maybe $70 to $120 upgrade for camo carbon and full accents of zircuti. So if you're into that, I think that's worth it for you. I probably would have held off on this just because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of zircuti and mokuti and fuck you tie and, you know, the stuff that Kevin likes to talk about. There's just, you know, Timascus, different things like that. It's just not for me. You know, I can appreciate it, and I definitely think this is a cool model, and this is probably one of my favorites that has had zircuti or that type of material on a knife. I think it looks really good, and the pocket lip to me just, you know, looks so well done because of the pattern on it and the way it's kind of like, you know, swiveling back and forth on it. But I would have saved the, you know, the money and gone with the micarta version. But I think it's worth it. These are re-op made, like I said, so you're getting that awesome quality. And for everything that's baked into here, you know, the action is just phenomenal. I mean, it fires out of there. Good closing action. You know, all in all, it's just a really well-made knife in some really cool materials, cool accents, everything like that. I can't fault anybody for wanting to spend it. Just, again, not for me, but, you know, if I ever see the micarta version go, you know, up on sale, which I have seen them on Instagram before, and I just haven't been quick enough to pull the trigger. But if I ever see a micarta one go up for a decent price, I might pull it just because it's a 3-inch blade. Those are right in my wheelhouse. It fits my hand super well. It's comfortable. It's lightweight. You know, the Wharncliffe blade is just menacing, but very, very utilitarian, very usable. The hollow grind is ridiculously thin, thinner than the Jaeger. I mean, this thing is just a workhorse of an EDC knife, and I wouldn't mind having one in the collection someday. So like I said, if I ever find one on the secondary for a good price, I definitely would consider pulling the trigger on it. But yeah, guys, that's really all I have to say about this. I think it's a fantastic knife, and I was really happy when I saw, when I did my unboxing. It was kind of a mystery because I told Kevin probably 5 or 6 knives from his collection that I hadn't got to check out yet, so it was a mystery for what I got. And I was excited to check out the Jaeger, but definitely was a little bit more excited to check out the Maverick S just because I've been a little bit more interested in it, and I was, you know, intrigued by it. So, yeah, guys, this was my full review on the Christensen Knife Works Maverick S, specifically the Fanatic Edge version. I do not think that they sell it anymore, but if you're interested, I will leave a link to Christensen Knife Works Instagram and his website down below. So if you guys are interested, go check him out. I want to give a huge shout out to Kevin over at Left EDC for sending me not just one, but 2 of his bougie knives in his collection. I know he loves both of these dearly. So Kev, thank you so much for always sending me cool shit to check out. It is much appreciated, and it definitely helps the channel continue along when I don't have a whole lot of other stuff to review for you guys. So yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, but as always, don't forget to use code 814EDC for 10% off of your purchase at Blue Creek Knives. Helps you guys, helps me, helps Brian, it is a win-win-win, like I like to say. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Traditional pocket knives, exclusive QSP Hedgehog. This thing is fucking amazing. The Visions Cove GOM or God Initiative.